Hi, Jamie here, also known as Standard American. My wife Kim and I have recently purchased property in the mountains of Northern California, where we plan on building a home and enjoying our retirement in the woods. Hey, Standard American here. Standard American doing Standard American things. So today I'm going to be working on my brother's chainsaw that I used up in the woods to cut down a big tree. He's got the big 26-inch bar Husqvarna, and well, you know, the right thing to do is to sharpen the chain teeth before, you know, returning it. I've already taken it apart, and I've taken the flywheel cover off and cleaned all the sawdust and oil and gunk out of the inside of there, and I wiped it all down because, yeah, I don't know if you could tell in the last video, but you know, when you're cutting down black burnt trees, everything gets black on it. So this thing wasn't quite orange anymore. It was pretty black. So yeah, I cleaned it all up for him, and now the next thing I'm gonna do is sorry, there was a truck going by on the street, which was loud. I don't know if you could hear that in the camera, but anyways, so, you know, the proper thing to do before you take it back to somebody is sharpen the chain and make sure it's all cleaned up and presentable again. So I'm going to show you the proper technique to sharpen a chainsaw with your standard chainsaw file. Not one of these fancy ones that give you this guide that, you know, I mean, you know, this is what the old timers taught me back in the day when I was living in Wyoming, working for Cody Lumber and Cody Timber. And, you know, the old timers, you know, they knew how to do it right. So they showed me the proper technique, and I'm going to attempt to show you the proper technique. And I know it's been, you know, 25 years, but I think we still got it. So stay tuned, and we'll get after it. So one thing I'd like to say is, for a chainsaw, this is a must. You know, most guys will throw their chainsaw in the back of their truck and it's banging around in the bed, but if you don't have one of these on it, then it beats up the teeth, and you wouldn't think that would be a big deal. And, you know, even if you got a bed liner in the back of your truck, it's still, there might be other tools back there, and any dings you're getting in your teeth are gonna affect the performance of your chainsaw. So if you don't have one of these, I've actually made them out of thick cardboard before and duct tape, and I don't care if it looks oaky or whatever, it works. And anything you can do to protect the teeth on your chain is a good idea. So first of all, we're going to take this puppy off of there, set it aside, and then here's a tip, because a lot of people, you know, it's hard to remember where you started on a chainsaw when you start sharpening it. So I've already taken a Sharpie and marked the top of one of the teeth. And I will go through and I'll sharpen all the teeth facing this direction, and then I'll turn the chainsaw around and then I'll sharpen the teeth facing the other direction. But I will use this as a starting and ending point going both ways. So with that said, we'll get you all set up here and we'll get after it. Okay, so we're going to talk about our file real quick. So this is a chainsaw file, standard run-of-the-mill chainsaw file. So one thing a lot of people don't realize is there's a purpose for that bare section on the end of your file, and that's to help you get the proper alignment. So one thing I want to show you is you can set this bare portion in the tooth of your file, and if you look closely, see if I can get it to focus, you can see how different angles, you'll get a gap on the front, you get a gap on the back, and it's really easy, boom, when you know you've got the right angle, because those gaps close up. And that's a good reason for having this, and that'll give you enough run at getting to your actual file portion. And another aspect to getting the angle would be up and down, and closing the gap this way, which if you look, you can see a gap in between the file and the outside edge of your tooth. So if you look through there, you'll see daylight coming through. So when you get the proper angle on your file, see how that daylight starts to diminish? And then when you get the proper angle, it's hard to do and hold the camera at the same time, but there we go. The daylight pretty much has diminished, and I've got the proper angle on the file. And it's really hard to show you and hold the camera and do all this at the same time and keep it in focus. But anyways, so you know, that's a thing. And if you notice on a new chainsaw, there's a little nub right there. That's going to keep you from completely closing up on that in the very first time you file. That nub's going to go away here in a second, but a lot of them have that little nub on there, and that's because they use a machine that files these in the factory, and it's not one of these, by the way. It is an actual grinding wheel that comes in, and you know, and it'll file those down to their initial, and it leaves a little ridge there which will file away, which is no big deal. So another thing I want to talk about is a lot of people just get in there and just start back and forth. That's not the proper method. The proper method would be one stroke at a time. Forward, you do a stroke forward, you pull the file out. Got somebody driving by real slow. It's really awkward. Anyway, all right, let's get back to this. So you put the file in, you get your alignment, you go one stroke through, you lift it out. You come back, you do another stroke through. Now you're gonna, however many strokes you do on this tooth, you do on every single tooth from that point on. And if you find one that needs more strokes, you go through, you still do the same amount all the way through. And if you still have one that's not sharp, you can go back, and it doesn't matter if you get more sharp on any of them, as long as you can get back to that one and give it a couple more, but always do the same amount of strokes throughout, and that keeps all of your teeth ground exactly the same amount. Because once you start getting one of them ground way back, and then the other side still has a lot of tooth here, it's going to start cutting funny. It's going to start cutting off to an angle. And if you look at the profile of these, they're taller in the front than they are in the back. So as they start getting ground down, this is getting shorter. So let's say the one on this side is still way up here at the very front, and this one's ground way back here. That's going to cause your saw to cut in a half moon shape through the wood. So always give it the same amount of strokes on each tooth. And like I said, if you find one that just isn't getting sharp yet, go back to the beginning, go a few more strokes and all the way through until you're sure you've gotten that one sharpened. And that's the amount of strokes you will do on the opposite side when you turn the saw around. So it's very imperative that we do the same amount of strokes all at the proper angle, and your chainsaw should turn out really well done and stay true for its lifetime. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started, and we'll see how this works out. Okay, where is that little puppy? So if you look here, we'll look at one that I didn't. If you look at this one, you can see how dingy and dull the teeth are. And then you go back here to the one I filed, you can see how bright it looks. And that's how you can tell when you've gotten most of it cleaned and filed. But if you look up here, it's hard to get that angle, and I don't know if there's enough light for you to actually see. It's still dark a little bit on that top edge, so I'm going to hit it a couple more times. Okay, I hope that showed up. So I've done 5, I believe. So 6. Oh, that looked pretty good. 7. Yeah, now it's clean. So we're going to do 7 passes on each file. Yeah, those are coming out nice. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but I got to look over the top of my glasses. These are actually prescription sunglasses, but I can't see up close anymore. So up close stuff, I gotta look over the top of them, but if I get back here, then I can see, but if I'm up here, I can't. It's funny. Old people, you know, old people problems. Ooh, that was a rough one. There's a burr on that one, but it looks like I got it. And don't be afraid to count out loud if you have trouble remembering how many strokes you've made, because I count in my head, but sometimes I'll count out loud if there's other distractions going on. Like making a video, I probably should be counting out loud because sometimes I distract myself. Oh, and speaking of distracting myself, let me show you something. If you look right down on top, this would be a good example. See that line on the top of there? That's to tell you when your saw chain is done. If you filed it back to that line, throw the sucker away, because man, it's just going to be an issue from that point on. So, you know, you've got a long ways to get to there. It lasts a long time before you get back to that point, but that's just you know, to tell you when your chain is done and you can't sharpen it no longer. So anyways, back to the action. Okay, now where was I? I was on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you can tell the first couple strokes are kind of jittery, and because there's burrs on there that, you know, happen when you're cutting wood with it. And you know, you can feel those when you first start off, but as your strokes continue, it smooths out, and that by the time I get to 7, it's good and clean. But see how it's rough in the beginning? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. By the time you get to the 7th stroke, it's going pretty smooth. But the first one, you can feel it dragging. And I like to hold on to the bar. A lot of guys will just hold on to it like this, but then that's always moving around on you, and you know, it's just awkward. So I like having my hand close to where I'm working. And then also this, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but it tends to wiggle, and I like to hold it where I'm getting a constant stroke on it without it tipping on me. So they're all looking pretty good, actually. I didn't dull it too bad, but okay. Now I'm back to my original tooth. So now we'll turn this puppy around. Well, I'm going to turn it around the other way. That was kind of awkward. And we're going to move the camera over to the other side. Otherwise, I'm going to be blocking everything. And just like that, we're back. All right, and again, here's our starting point. So I'll pick one either side of that, just to go with the other side, you know, the other direction. So I will start with the one in front of it, and we'll go from there. Now this is a little more awkward because I am right-handed. It's hard to hold that blade up, and because I want to have a tendency to get in the way of the file with my finger. And if you try to hold it from back here, so you can't get the right angle with your finger. So I usually go down to the next one in front of it and do it. And you really can't see it good from that angle. I just got a metal shaving stuck in my finger. We're gonna change you around a little. All right, maybe that's a good angle. So anyways, there was a car going by. I'm gonna edit that out. So anyways, here we are. Was our starting point for when we had it turned around the other way. I'm gonna go to the one in front of that, and I'm gonna start sharpening from there. But what I want to talk about is remember how I was holding the chain so it doesn't tip and do different things while I'm trying to sharpen it. It's hard to do when you're going the one on this direction because I'm right-handed, and you know, trying to hold that particular tooth straight up and down, I tend to bump into my finger. I can't do it from the back side because then I can't get my angle. So I'll typically grab the one just slightly in front of it and hold the chain like that, and that usually works pretty good. But you got to remember, you just sharpen these and they are very sharp. A lot of times I'll put a glove on because I don't like to cut myself. So now that I've got a hold of that really sharp blade, and I get my alignment, and here we go. Okay, 7, just like I did with the other direction. You know, I always wonder if I make weird faces when I'm doing stuff and concentrating. So if you see me making a weird face, you know, let me know in the comments. I often do goofy stuff like that, my tongue sticking out or something weird, you know. That one had a pretty rough burr on it. You know, it was pretty awesome of my brother to let me borrow this, considering the fact that he's never even used it himself yet. I got to use it for the very first time. And I think he's going to use it for a chainsaw mill. He said he's got a big tree, some sort of walnut tree or something. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty intricate looking. I think it's got burrs and stuff all over it, and he wants to make some really cool wood products out of it. And so he bought this to do a chainsaw mill with it, and hadn't done it yet. That one had a pretty rough burr, but I think I got it. Okay, last one. And there you have it. We're back to the tooth that I marked. So, and yes, those are razor sharp right now. And those will be cutting very well for Tim when he gets to use it. So that's how you sharpen a chainsaw blade. And then again, very imperative, that thing goes back on there. And now it's protected. Yeah, I wish they had like a strap or something that they could snap this thing in place with, you know, when it had a little buckle or something, you could like snap it and it would stay on there. Because, you know, you put it in the back of the truck and then you drive down the highway. I've actually had these things blow off and end up in the next county. So I usually lay my saw down when it's in the back of the truck on its side, and then, you know, I'll put whatever things on top in the back to hold this down if I'm keeping it in the back of the truck. But Tim don't like his saws in the back of the truck, which I don't blame him. You know, I'm gonna put it in the back seat, and I'll put a tarp down just so it doesn't leak any gas or oil inside the back of my truck. So yeah, there you have it. Let's start that over. There you have it. All right, one more time. Composure. Yes, I'm good now. So there you have it, how to sharpen a chainsaw. So we'll catch you on the next one.